Hey everyone, my name is Justin Lofton. I'm the driver of the number 41 Yokohama Tire Fox Factory Trophy Truck in the SCORE International and Best in Desert Racing Association. A couple days ago, we asked our fans on Instagram what are some of the questions they wanted me to answer. I've got a list of them right here, so let's get going. The fastest so far that I've gone is 150 miles an hour. I've done it in both Badco and in Fury. Badco was at this year's 2020 Mint 400 going across the first lake bed on the first lap. Fury was out at Plaster City. May have been touched the asphalt a little bit, but we actually did 151-ish miles an hour, but it was on the road. It technically doesn't count. So Badco wins 150 miles an hour. What is it? Ahbeef is actually nothing but a hashtag. Me and a friend of mine were coming up many years ago, we're coming up with different hashtags for people to use that after a race I can go and research everyone that was taking pictures that not necessarily tagged me, but tagged what was on my truck. So I've had a lot of fun going back and watching you guys, hanging out at races, cooking your own steaks at home, doing a lot of stuff. So continue to use the hashtag. That's kind of a personal enjoyment to be able to go back and search the internet for them. And if you haven't, make sure hashtag AHBEEF. The difference between Badco and Fury. Fury was built to be a Ford platform truck with a FR9 or an RY45 engine in it, where Badco was my first trophy truck built with a Chevy small block. So, and it was the first of the Gen 4 Jimcos. So we just kind of updated a few of the small things on Fury to make it easier to work on. So essentially no geometry difference, carries a little more fuel, steering box is a little easier to get out, and one has a wider front end due to the Ford engine that was in it. I made the switch to Yokohama Tire because they gave me an opportunity to become part of Team Yokohama. Joined the names of Travis Pastrana, Curtis Downs, Beaver Fleming, the Matt Locks, Levi Shirley, and so many other athletes along a lot of different disciplines. And it's been a lot of fun so far, and looking forward to the future and doing a lot of cross promotion stuff with my fellow members. Yes, I miss racing in NASCAR. You know, a lot of people say it's very redundant, just going around turning left all the time. But with 20-something different tracks on the circuit, the family bonds that you make with your crew guys, and not only your crew guys, but the fellow guys in the garage, is definitely a memorable experience. And yeah, I definitely do, and I stay in touch with a lot of people back there, so I'm very thankful for that. My dad started racing in 1986, and I was born in the year 1986. So you can just say I was actually born into it. Thankfully, my dad really enjoys it, and so I've been able to turn it into a family hobby, into a professional career. I've raced everything from circle tracks in Southern California all the way up the West Coast to the ARCA Series, where I won the championship in 2009, and was grateful enough to race in the NASCAR Truck Series and the now NASCAR Xfinity Series on a limited basis. So here I am racing trophy trucks, and that's how I got into racing. Technically, my first race was at the age of 13. My dad was partnered with Mike Julson, and they had built a light two-seat 10-car / pre-runner, and it was when the FUD races were still going on. So I got it. So myself, Matt Lloydis, and John Vance all got to do a lap, and just kind of a thank you, and obviously that was my way of getting my feet wet. I didn't start seriously racing until I was 17, and I actually was in a Colorado hill climb car in the super stock class racing up in the Rocky Mountains. So I was thrown into the wolves in a class 10 car, and then immediately into a 600 horsepower super stock Mustang. So interesting way for me to get into racing. I love to do the Dakar Rally. There's something about it that interests me, that it's more of an adventure type race. It's you against a lot of miles, and I just think it'd be a challenge, and it'd be a once in a lifetime experience, and hopefully maybe more than a once in a lifetime experience. So I got a plan to do it by the time I'm 40, so I have 6 years left, and we'll get serious about it here real soon. Every win is your best race, I would say. One of my most memorable races was 2009 at Rockingham, where I won the ARCA championship. 2015, where I won my first Mint 400. 2016, where I won my second Mint 400. 2012, where I won my first NASCAR Truck Series race. And of course, 2019, where I won my third Mint 400. So I don't know, pick one. Maybe even my first race was my best race. So we don't like to talk about the worst races. We only like to talk about the best races. We learn from the worst races, so there it is. They all present their own challenges. By far, the Gene Prim Lake Bed has been very, very good to me, not only with Mint 400s, but back when we were running the Henderson 250 and Best in the Desert. Vegas to Reno are epic races, super fast. The roads are absolutely amazing, and the scenery is absolutely amazing. Baja 1000 Peninsula runs, you know, if you haven't done one, you should really do one in your life. They're spectacular, they're tough, and they will push you to your absolute end. So they're all my favorite. The one we're going to next. So are we going to the 500? Are we going to the 250 in September? Or are we just going to cap it off for a winner takes all Baja 1000? Even before I ran Method Wheels, they were definitely a company that I was intrigued with and liked very much. Not only do they have many, many great styles of wheels, but they promote their athletes. They take care of their athletes, and they have a very good athlete support group, and they're a great bunch of people to work with. So we have a lot of fun together. They support not only my racing, but my other events, and yeah, that's why I run Method Race Wheels. We don't have any plans of yet to build an all-wheel drive trophy truck. They are faster in some sections, but there's still a lot of research and development going into them, and I feel that the two-wheel drive trucks, we can push a little harder, and you know, we can still be very, very competitive with them. So as far as when we decide to build one, there's a lot of great builders out there, so when that time comes, we'll just see who we want to work with and who's having the best results. I've driven two other trucks. One was a Geyser truck and the other one was a Tisco truck. They both had their plus and minuses. We've just had a great relationship with Jimco, and that's why I have two Jimco trucks right now. There is a lot of man hours that go into building one of these trucks, well over 1,000. In fact, 50% of the cost of a trophy truck is in just the labor side of it. So if you could take the employee out, they'd be pretty cheap, or if you can take the parts out, they'd be pretty cheap. So you can chalk up well over 1,000 hours in the chassis, not including all the other components that go into it. I've only ever run Fox shocks. A lot of it and all of it has to do with the relationship that was started with my dad and John Marking back in the early 90s. Obviously, with them being just down the road from Jimco, it made it really easy. And you know, they've supported me ever since day one, and they're a great bunch of people to work with. I'm actually working with people now that I grew up alongside, so you know, we not only have a business relationship, but we have great family and friend bond outside of it. And yeah, and I think they make the most superior off-road shock on the market. So that's it. That's why I run Fox Factory. So our little black buggy was built right alongside the truck that is actually in the background, J1 in 2005. It started out to be a pre-runner for my dad and Mike Julesen. And then as the years went on, my dad had put a larger motor in. We started out with a small block Chevy built by Ray Fields in 2009. And then since then, it now has one of Badco's old small blocks in it. So it's putting out over 570 horsepower to the ground, and it's a little ridiculous. So That chassis is 15 years old. There's not very many bars in it that are left original, but it still gets and goes, and we have a lot of fun in it. I'll tell you, there's nothing like driving 800 to 1100 horsepower trophy truck across the desert at speeds that we shouldn't be doing, but thankful to great partners. They make it look smooth like butterfly, but they sure aren't inside the truck. They take its wear and tear on them, but at the end you get that amazing euphoric feeling that from the adrenaline high that it's just something that you can't replace. And no matter how beat up you are at the end of the day, no matter how rough that race was or how bad your weekend was, you just can't wait to get back in it. So I would say there's very few things that top the joy I get out of driving one of my trophy trucks. So at the age of 10, I actually started racing BMX bikes as a way to get out and feel that competitive spirit that I had. A couple of years later, I ventured into the downhill mountain biking world. That was a lot of fun. I raced that from 12 to 16 years old, where I ended up breaking my femur, and that's really where my career change came from. Obviously, I couldn't ride a mountain bike anymore because it's kind of hard with a broken femur. And actually, my first Colorado hill climb race that I raced, I actually still somewhat had a broken femur and was walking around with a crutch and a cane. So yeah, I had a lot of fun. Got to race a 12-hour downhill race at Snow Summit, which I think is the only one they've ever done. Made a lot of cool friends, Cody Warren, Kyle Strait, and numerous other ones. And we still get to hang out and do a little riding every once in a while. I would almost say I can cook better than I can drive most of the time. There's the occasional time you walk away from the grill or the stove, but I can make a pretty good steak. I would say not only Derek can get a little pouty in the passenger seat, maybe the driver can get a little pouty in the driver's seat as well. Usually when we pull in the pits, they feed us some food and it all goes away. So we have a great relationship. That's why he's ridden with me for so long, and looking forward to many more years. So for those of you that don't know me, my favorite adult cocktail is definitely a Captain Morgan and Coke. It just makes the world right. My favorite cut of meat, I'm definitely a New York guy, but yeah, I will never pass up short rib. I love short rib. It's really tender, really flavorful, very rich, and it just is good. iRacing has definitely opened up a lot of doors. It's continued to give the current professional drivers a way of getting behind the wheel and continuing to entertain our fans and keep our fans. I also think it's going to open up doors to create new fans. There's definitely a new platform. A lot more people are online. And so it might take that person that never would have sat down to watch a 4-hour NASCAR race, or to be lucky enough to catch a 1-hour off-road race in the middle of the afternoon or the middle of the night. So I think it's a growing opportunity for the sport. I definitely like the way everyone has literally grabbed it by the horns or grabbed it by the steering wheel and taken it digital, and I've joined it as well. So find me on iRacing if you're on there, and let's log some laps together. Definitely the first episode of the Ahbeef Life was probably one of my favorites because it had little baby Liam in it. It was why I actually started the Ahbeef Life, and was to essentially show Liam what Dad did when he was gone, really during the first year of his life. That was the goal, was it to only be one episode or one season of it, and here we are now, season 3, continuing to grow. We're 70-something episodes into it, and with no signs of slowing down. So there you go, episode number 1, my favorite. I think this question is actually a loaded question, seeing how long Russell is going to have a job for and what he can plan for. So we've got a couple more years left for sure. I don't see myself slowing down, only getting bigger. and doing more. And I think we'll be doing a lot more in-depth question answer deals like this within the episodes. And hopefully we can get Derek to sit down and actually do an interview, because that right there might be the season ending deal that we go for at the 2020 episode. We're actually working on a project to not only showcase just the trophy trucks, but our pre-runners as well, and even our chase vehicles that shows what it takes to go into racing. So we got a project coming soon. Stay tuned to my YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button. Thank you guys.